Megan Long here is a client of ours who is a virtual assistant coach. So, with that being said, let's just begin by having you dive a bit more into what you do exactly and how your business model works.
Yeah, so I help women who are either new online service providers or those looking to scale, build successful businesses. Right now, I have one core program, Freelance to Freedom, and I'm actually creating a scale program, which is pretty exciting to continue to support people that I've already worked with. And our business model, it's a 14-week program. It is a mini group style coaching, so 4-to-1 ratio, and we also offer like community calls and connection in different ways as well.
Awesome. Now, what problems were you facing prior to working with us in the team at Growthology Agency?
I have had a very like roller coaster road with my coaching journey. It took me a really long time to just get solid in being a coach, I think like in that dynamic. And I had a great like 4 to 6 months. I hit my 10K income, which was really a really big deal for me. And then leads stopped coming in. People were not interested. I had some turbulence with a previous mentor. So there was just some things that had happened and I couldn't really pinpoint what that was. So I kind of felt like a sitting duck, like the things that I was doing before wasn't working for me now. So I knew I needed to do something and I just didn't know what to do.
Gotcha. Now, how have things changed within your business since you've started working with us in the team at Growthology Agency back in July?
Oh my goodness. So many things. Like honestly, uh, I think the main one for me was like confidence in what I was doing. That was a huge aspect that I think I kind of lost my footing in, mindset and confidence over the last few months because was tying my worth to what I was doing, and that's not something that should have happened. But I've been leaning more into, I guess, like understanding the industry and what people really need. I think for me, part of what was missing in like my ideal client and my niche that I kept overlooking um, was people need to be able to pay and they need to be able to pay me sooner than later. And I had a really hard time with that because I thought that was being like harsh to the community. When I first started my coaching business, it was mainly new moms coming off of like maternity leave. And as much as I love working with those kind of people, they don't have the amount of money that can pay me in the time that makes the most sense for me in my business. So I guess it's more like the business mindset as well. People are now more paying me in full, or if not like over a month, which is really brand new to me. I had payments as long as like 8 or 9 months, like prior to working with you guys. I also think that the confidence has like gone into the community. The way that I run coaching calls now is a little bit different. I set some more expectations with them before they start. And it's also helped me weed out people that really aren't ready to make a commitment to me or to coaching or to business. And that's really helped because I think we all know having clients like that, it's challenging. It's challenging for both sides.
Gotcha. So, when we first started working together, you kind of plateaued. You were stuck at $10,000 per month back in July. How much did
Mhm.
you make last month with your business in August?
33.
33. Awesome.
3x growth right there.
Yeah. And 35, I think when we were talking, Renzo, the first time I was 25 to 30, and you're like, just 30. And I was like, well, maybe 35. So that's like wild. It's wild to me.
Okay, cool. So you went from 10K all the way to 30K. So before we go over like the results, let's talk a little bit more about the problem. So you said you're at 10K, lead flow is kind of inconsistent. So like what did that inconsistent lead flow, like what type of impact did that have on your business and your life?
Um, Essentially, like I had no more money coming in at all. And this is my only income. This is what I do full time. And because I kept doing the same things like over and over again, I was just getting really frustrated with myself and I think a bit with the community. Um, so I didn't know what was going to happen next. Like I don't believe in backup plans. So I was just going to try and find a solution for this. But
Okay, gotcha. And then in terms of the people who, couldn't really pay, couldn't do the pay in full. So how did it feel talking to, I don't like to call people broke, but how did it feel talking to broke prospects who couldn't really afford your program on calls?
I'm an emotional person. So at first it was like really hard to have those conversations emotionally, but from the business side of it, I do think that I learned how to navigate those with a lot of grace and just say like, I completely understand that now is not the right time for you, but like, here's my free Facebook group. And like, I'm running some master classes and like offering different resources. Some of those calls that I got off with people that couldn't afford it. And I got messages a couple days later that they made a plan to make that happen, which again is something that I hadn't really experienced before. Like people really like giving it solid effort to get in and do the thing that they had to do. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. So now that we're at 33K, let's talk about how we actually got you to that point. So what would you say were like the three biggest changes we made with your business that got you to 33K?
I think that because I was feeling so frustrated and down on my business in general, like I really stopped trying as hard, like giving it as much attention and effort as I needed to in that personal outreach that like you talk about, like right when we first started, like you need to be talking to X number of people and are doing X number of things. It really like lit a fire under my ass. And it's like, actually, you have to go and do this thing. Like if you really want it, what you do, you have to go and do it. And I booked calls immediately. It was like 6 or 7 calls in a week, people I had never spoken to before, people that are friends of mine that I've known for 10 or 15 years that were booking in. And it was just like really eye-opening for me to be like, okay, so like that's the part that was missing, was like also the effort on my part.
Mm. And so like a lot of people work with us because like we get insanely fast results, almost ridiculous. So
Yeah.
how fast did you get results from the point that you invested in us to the point where you either booked your first call or landed your first client with us?
The first book call was like the next day. And I think I had 8 or 9 booked calls that week. And I think the next week was when I had people that were paying within like the 7-day period. So
Gotcha. So how much would you say you made the first week work with us?
I think it was around 8K.
Okay, cool. So you made like an immediate return on investment within your
Yeah,
first.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And I know you said you also are actually talking with more qualified people, actually people who could pay, actually interested. So how would you say you're able to generate those type of people now compared to before?
Before I did not really vet people in DMs. Like I just had a Google form, which like kind of does that for you, but I wasn't doing it on my own terms, like in DM conversations really at all. So that was something that's really helped because people will tell me like, yes, I can afford this. No, I can't invest. And I can either move forward or direct them somewhere else. So that was definitely a big part of it for me. And also Calendly. So when I was offering for people to book in, even if we really hadn't had an in-depth conversation yet, the questions that were on there as well were worded in a different way that made people have to give me an answer that was kind of like, yes, this is a good fit for us, or no, it's not.
Exactly. And like that's the big reason a lot of people have before working with us, like they're not able to talk to the right people on the phone, which is very frustrating, which
Yeah.
you had and now you fixed, which we love to hear. And then finally, in terms of the 33K, I always like to ask, like, how has 33K changed your life? Like, how has life been different since you got there?
Oh my goodness. So my husband's in the military and he has had some medical issues over the last year and he's really wanted to leave, but financially it is a good paying job and benefits and all the things that comes with it. And the goal for me to be able to support that happening so he can kind of do something that he wants to do, like he also has his own business, was $15,000 to $20,000 months. So we actually were able to have that conversation over the weekend. Like he's able to give in his notice, which means in 6 months he doesn't have to be in the Army anymore and he can go and be a life agent, which is really where his passion is. So, I mean, it's literally life changing.
That's amazing. We love to hear that. So we've been working together for about 8 weeks now. So how would you rate your experience 1 through 10 working with us, the program overall, the community? What would you say 1 through 10?
10 out of 10, 100%. I didn't know as much about the community aspect before I got into it, but everyone is so like excited to meet you and welcome you and like pump you up on social media and have conversations. Like I love getting DMs from other people from Growthology. Like it's literally like a family dynamic of people just wanting to like help each other out. It's amazing.
Awesome. That's what we love to hear. Now, what would you say to anyone that's on the edge of whether or not to work with and invest into working with our agency?
I mean, in my opinion, there's no reason not to do it. You guys are absolute experts in understanding business and marketing and solving pain points. And I think that might not be something that people really know. Like they might know a couple of things, but it's the solving your specific pain point. Like I've been in a lot of coaching programs now that it's kind of that umbrella effect. Like they help niche and they help this, but it's not specific to like that individual or that individual business. And for me, I think that really made a huge difference. So if like someone's watching this and they're like debating on whether they should be joining or not, 100%. When Renzo and I had that conversation about like $25,000 to $30,000 months, like that was a pipe dream for me. Like that was like 5 years down the line, like hard, grinding labor. Like it doesn't have to be that way, and you have to rely on experts in order to have success in business 1,000%.
100%. And I know you're pretty much sold before we even hopped on a call, but was there any reason why you almost didn't join? Was there any like hesitancy before working with us?
No, and actually I did want to share this with you. So before you and I even had that like little exchange on your TikTok live, I've shared your videos with my coaching community. Like things that you shared online, I share it with them. So when I had shared that I was going to be working with you, like the community absolutely exploded, like absolutely exploded. It was such a neat experience. I just didn't know that you worked with other businesses other than the fitness industry. So I was super amped. So there was no, I knew I was going to sign when I was getting on that call.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I know you said the community was your favorite part. So in terms of like people you'd recommend us to, like what type of people would you recommend joining Growthology?
I mean, anyone that is a product or a service or a coach, I don't think that there's an industry that I can really think of that shouldn't take this opportunity and invest in themselves with you guys. Aside from the community, like I truly appreciate both of your responses being so quick. Like there's some moments like I send a message and I get a message back, and that just means a lot. Like you're very hands-on, and I don't think that a lot of like mentorship programs can say that either.
I gotcha. Love to hear it. So if you guys want results like Megan, we are looking for a few more people who can handle more clients this week. So if you're interested, feel free to DM me at Renzo_Guevara on Instagram or the Ibrahim Ansari on Instagram. And we'll get you all the details to see if we could even help.